No, that's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's true. I think. Do you guys think that women perhaps are told more often than even men? Like you have to like prove yourself in order to do.
I have an interesting, like, not theory, but like feeling about that, because I just had the same conversation like a couple of days ago about like women not being able to do something. I've never felt like that in my life because I've never paid attention to that, and to me it was just something that like you cannot tell me what I want, like what I can or cannot do. So like it just was not in my thought process. So I feel like I almost want to say that like we need to stop talking even about it so it becomes irrelevant. Like it shouldn't be even like a topic that women are not as equal or blah, like, and I understand why it is, right? It's just like I think like I don't know why it happened to me like in life that like I never paid attention to that, because I'm sure there were instances where yes, I was underqualified because I'm a woman and stuff like that, but it just was never like even a thought in my head that like I cannot do this because I'm a woman, you know?
That's beautiful. And you know, as you say that, I think I agree. I agree, and I start judging myself as you're talking about it. Like, A, why haven't I been able to express myself about it that way? B, now you know why I'm so anti-feminism. And C, I think ultimately we were just brought up in a slightly different culture for a big period of time, and it's not to say that women are glorified in the former Soviet Union. It's just, it wasn't a topic.
Exactly.
You know, we never felt like that because it wasn't a topic. It's not because it doesn't exist. It's because people didn't really talk about it. But in reality, it exists worse, right? Because our role is just get married and have children. That's our role. However, you're right. Because it wasn't discussed, you and I never felt the pressure of that. And that's a really interesting perspective. But actually, for me, I think when it comes to arts, men have it worse, to be honest, because there's an entire stigma of, you know, your sexuality being questioned if you are a male artist, and, you know,
and your power and your
right, and just, you know, are men allowed to be sensitive? Are men allowed to be vulnerable? Are men allowed to express anything beyond, you know, gunfights and sexual conduct? So I think actually it's probably harder to be a male artist. It was definitely harder for the male dancers, in my observation. So I'm not, you know,
Yeah. I think I lay probably on the opposite spectrum on this than the two of you, just because of experience. But I appreciate the viewpoint so much because it's inspiring to me. That attitude to be able to like ride on the wingspan of that, like that oomph, because we aren't raised in my culture to have that. Even like with my immediate family, both of my grandmothers were, you know, stay-at-home moms and homemakers, and their role was support your husband, make children, raise them, cook food, clean the house. That's what you do. And then with my mother, it was, you know, she was a single mom, and then it was split up because it was like you have to find a way to support your children and, you know, financially, and be this homemaker, but then also the men in the circle saying, well, don't worry, I'll just raise your children. I'll just help you. You can't do this. You're just a woman. That was very heavy in my childhood for both of my grandmothers and my mother. You're just a woman. You're just a woman. And bringing it back to arts, I was celebrated in my art as expression, but I feel like it's different when you cross over into career. Because for me, I wasn't raised or didn't intrinsically have any desire as a young woman to push for a career. My goal was get married, have children, and have a stable and happy home. And I didn't think it was possible to have that and have a successful career, or a successful career as an artist, because as a dancer, you always have, or at least for me, I always had that fear as a woman, if I know I want to be a mother, when do I expire as a dancer if I'm going to put my body through that process? And I've struggled with that even recently, because the people I see around me who are successful in the industry that I want to be successful in aren't married and don't have kids. So me being a newlywed who wants to start a family, I feel very